All right, welcome everybody. My name is E.R. Anderson. I'm the executive director of Charis Circle. Charis Circle is a nonprofit programming arm of Charis Books, and Charis Books is the space we are in tonight. We got folks coming in. Come on in. We are so glad to be here with all of you for our monthly open mic, Cliterati. We are here with Karen G, the hostess with the mostest, who's going to kick us off. Our feature tonight is abeo chimeka-tisdale. Abeo is not only an amazing poet, they are also the newest addition to our Charis team. Yeah. Featured on the mic. Yes. So we're very excited to get to celebrate our awesome coworker who is the Charis Circle programming assistant, and it's just been a gift to us. So it's really special that we get to celebrate them. So, but first, we're going to celebrate all of y'all who want to read. So, we got some folks signed up, but for folks who just walked in, if any of y'all want to get on the list to read, you can. And we're going to let Karen kick it off. All right, here we go.
Hi, welcome everybody. Happy Juneteenth. Here we are. Yes, hi. I'm gonna Teresa's not here tonight. She's doing stuff at Arts Exchange all weekends. So you might want to go check out some of the gallery stuff that's going on at Arts Exchange. The garden that they have over there, a community garden. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. They've got like a lending library, all this cool stuff going on over there. But what we've been talking about, what we've been talking about lately is like how so much of what we used to write or used to hear is coming back around again, like still relevant. And I was like, I know that like from the punk movement in the 80s, there was a guy from Dead Kennedys called Delta Biafra, and like what he was saying, what he said, just kick it off tonight with like this thing that's coming back and playing in my ears, which is called Rob Now, Pay Later. Someday, even experts will figure out that crime is not caused by rap music or even my music, but by a power structure of self absorbed property owners so brain dead and stupid that they won't even see that if you're too goddamn greedy to pay taxes for schools and services, they're not going to be good anymore. And that uneducated time bombs are a very poor investment as a future workforce. So if you go on teaching people that life is cheap and you leave them to rot, they may one day feel justified in coming back to rob and kill you. Duh! I feel like that's sort of like where I'm situated with the capitalism and the greed and the continued disenfranchisement. Anyway, yes. And I just keep hearing that. And they might feel justified to come back at you later. Yeah, they might. Like now. Anyway. And then I also wanted to cover Theresa since she wanted to be here and is working. And this is one of her older pieces, but still relevant. So this is History Lessons by Theresa Davis. In a city that was described as the model for racial harmony, yellow journalism and race baiting sparked the flame that would erupt in the streets of Atlanta. In 1906, fueled by lies and ignorance, and the thought that the progress of one race could mean the downfall of another, flashed on September 22nd, leaving its wake officially the deaths of 25 people of color, their lives dashed by angry white mobs. Contemporary history. Bent on exacting fear on the upwardly mobile that didn't share their melanin or their truth. For 4 days, the senseless terrorizing went on. Bodies thrown from streetcars and shot in the streets. Politicians turned their faces, maintaining their agendas, feeling that the rhetoric took hold. Like a cancer of fear spreading the thought in the white communities, God-fearing Southerner who would not stand for the successes of former enslaved people to move beyond the stereotypes, their notions of superiority 100 years ago. Race riot has two definitions in the United States of America. The fires being a riot of whites who attacked blacks for simply being black, and Atlanta wasn't the only place where blacks were pursued by angry mobs. There was New Orleans, New York, Texas, and between May and October of 1919, 26 race riots would darken the skies of the United States and would be remembered as the Red Summer. Standing in 2006, so you get a sense of this poem, my mind wanders back through time, a myriad of emotions that stagger me into the future. The travesties of the past cannot be forgotten, for if they are when they threaten to repeat themselves, as the past has a tendency to do when we won't recognize the signs. Though the times have changed, many of the motivations for such events have not. And the idea that riots can begin as a result of envy, born of hatred and ignorance in America, the words race riot has two meanings. The first being a riot of whites who attacked blacks for simply being black. So tell the stories, educate the young about the transgressions of the past. History tends to repeat itself, but the signs remain the same. And I was remembering this poem in Project and Community also, because I keep hearing people say, oh, this is not who we really are. And that just rankles me. Like, no, it has been who we have been if we look at the past and what's happening in the present. So just a little bit of that. And I wanted to bring Theresa into the room, so she wanted to be here. So, hello, everybody. Hi, welcome. Now it's the open mic, and then we'll have our feature. And toward the end, also, like, if anybody feels so moved to also share and speak, then please let me know. Okay. So, I went so that you don't have to. Is Stephanie F. ready? Yeah. Yes. All right. Lot of clap. It's Stephanie F. All right. This is my first time of this reading. Yeah. Yes. I'm a little nervous, but don't stay with me. All right. This is a nonfiction piece that I wrote a few years back. About this cemetery in Hartville, Georgia. It's got some unmarked graves there. So it's called Honoring the Dead. The exchange between the wet soil of Mother Earth and those who walk above it is only sacred to those who carry clay hearts. Unnamed, unmarked, and unknown. They hum spirituals beneath our feet, and we do what we can to find them. There's a group of these graves where my mother's family is buried. I tell them hello every Mother's Day when we visit, and we make sure that they are well attended and acknowledged. I wanted to meet them. Who are they? What is their story? How did they end up here? I always felt that I should honor them and maybe one day write about them. But how do you write about someone who you never met? I kept having this reoccurring dream of the graves in my mother's hometown. I would be sitting beside one of those unmarked graves quietly, a trance-like state. There were 4 of them that I could see clearly. 2 of them were marked with an old white license plate that read unknown and gave the year of death. The remaining 2 were prominent mounds of settled dirt, simply marked with a weather-beaten stone, and were on the verge of being overtaken by weeds and plant life. It was as if the soil itself was alive and begging to whisper ancient secrets to me. I wanted to carry the message to the world, but how? I wanted to scream their names from the rooftops of Atlanta. I wanted to stage a protest with their ghostly figures standing behind me in Montgomery. I wanted their story posted in every newspaper, magazine, academic journal, and billboard that I can find. How can I spread their story when I can only whisper of their existence to others? The heaviness of my heart is one of the few remembers that they exist outside of my own mind. Mm-hmm. Their story could never be told, and I could never tell their story. At times it was like I could see them.
their shadows hovering above their graves, and incomprehensible pain flowing from their dark forms. When they sent to be slaughtered for entertainment of the white men and women who had a taste for black blood, my ancestors' stories remain below the story, visible and unheard, screaming out each detail before they run out of air in their coffins. The cruelness of a white society continues to choke them in death. A part of me stays with them when my mother calls me to the car to leave, digging furiously and telling them I'm going to get help. In the quiet moments I think of them and mourn the stories lost in the earth. People who will never be known or found out, locked away in an ancient tomb of silence.
Thank you for that, Stephanie F. Applause for Stephanie for coming out. I also think about that too when I'm wandering in cemeteries. Like the headstone just has such basic information. It's kind of like wondering like what all of their stories are. Yeah. Um, Kels, are you ready? You just signed up nice.
I did. I got here.
Okay.
Appreciate you. I like that book. I should have looked on it. And also, I just want to say that these was like, wow, like, just transcended. Yeah. So I read this poem recently called Love Poem Centaur by non-acoustic. And it was so good. And I just remember like I saw it and I was like, I wanted to write an after poem that I hope would like maybe capture some of the feeling that I got. I wrote this poem. It's called Love Poem Mango after Donica Kelly. I try to perfect the Caribbean gesture of first lips. A click, a hiss, a kissing teeth. I think that loving you means knowing how to be your homeland. I'm messing it all up, I know, but my love, I thank the stars for you, those diamond archipelagos in shimmering black water. You pursed lips slurp the coffee I make with audible appreciation, but suddenly you are hot with Caribbean daughter shame. From the kitchen, I fetch 2 ripened mangoes and watch how your eyes glow with hunger. Mine do too, and then we are tearing and sucking and laughing and eyeing your homeland, by which I mean there is no distance between us that isn't covered in the stickiness of love. Lips yielding, loose and soft, kissing secrets into dark, coiling tresses. I come alive for you, my love. I am live. Thank you. And this is like, I feel like the poem that I always think of is like pride, also obviously Juneteenth, and also just like the time of year where I feel the most like empowered and emboldened. So yeah, this is all things. I also go for my next. Bricks. I hope all my books are banned books, like so contraband they start trapping them out the bando. People feeding for my words with such fervor, clawing at the door for just one more taste. Someone keeps the lookout to make sure 12 don't see the weight, tiny baggies filled with poem scraps pushed out from every corner. I hope my books become so obscure that someone's biggest flex is telling you they read me, and then you search for my Wikipedia page and all it says is black, queer, longtime resident of the South, 93 till infinity. I hope white people hate my shit. Try to say it means nothing in the daylight, feels so raw and dirty, sneaking peeks on the dark web, face a hot mess of flush. I hope they slam their laptop shut when they hear footsteps approaching, hang their heads with shame, and spend the rest of their lives wondering how much they missed out on. I hope they outlaw my books and then drag queens read them to toddlers on the front steps of the Capitol. And I hope there are no front steps of the Capitol because I hope the empire falls. Yeah, throws the first break, and I hope a page ripped from one of my books is attached to it. I hope one day I meet a genocide survivor, all grown up despite all odds, and they tell me they know all of the books and gasped and asked them how my poems made it to Palestine. Through Whisper Network, they'll say we mixed them with Arabic, and by the time they reached us, they already had French, Haitian Creole, and Swahili in them too. I hope my books are too heady for the Pulitzer. I hope my books get down on the down low. I hope their registration expires. I hope my books live in infamy. I hope my books turn into history books buried somewhere long forgotten, only to be dug up in 200 years by whoever is still left on this rock. And they read them and they cry and they wonder what made me write these words and what type of world we were living in where people ban books, and then they take my books, toss them into a pit, pour one out for an ancestor, and then they burn them for warmth.
I don't want my books to be banned. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. And also for that thought about like what time of the year we feel most empowered. That is a good prompt too. Thank you for that. All right. Next up we have Ginger. Ginger.
Great. This is my first time too. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, water. It's always a good idea. Hydrate.
Okay. So this is a part of a collection I call "Do You Know Why I Love Flowers?" Okay, so the first one I want to read is from the section "The Roots," and I want to read "Just a Girl" and just enough to reach beneath the surface. Okay, so just a girl. I stand in front of the mirror, soft light catching the curve of my smile, taking in the magnitude of my reflection. I'm beautiful, breathtaking even. Although, could I use more blush? Are my cheeks too round? Does my hair fit the occasion? Do I sparkle enough? Fingers trace the edge of my dress, nervous excitement gleaming quietly in my chest, taking note of the rise and fall and the steady beat of my heart. Excited, trying to come in to make it so comfortable. My thoughts whisper reassurance to my thinking. Tonight is for laughter, for stories, for freedom. The scent of jasmine curls upon my wrist, a gentle armor for the moments ahead. I let my hair down as a reminder to let myself run free. A promise that I am ready to run, dance, to chase the stars with friends who hold me like home. Just a girl stepping into the night, ready to be seen, ready to be more. This one is called Just Enough to Reach Beneath the Surface. Okay. I lay down on my back, knowing I'm about to give you something sacred. You slip your fingers between the knot, undoing it, freeing me of the only protection I've had left. You kiss your way up the side of my neck, sucking up what little is left of me. I arch my back, inviting you in. You kiss me everywhere but my lips, leaving space for emptiness to settle in. However, emptiness is overthrown by desperation. But I need this. You moan in my ear, praising how badly you want me, and I can't help but feel cynical as those 3 words fall from your lips. But I want this. Your touch reminds me of my beauty. Your yearning whispers that I'm worthy. And for the moment, my thoughts leave my mind and let you speak for me. Your strokes tell me I'm authentic. Your kisses tell me I'm authentic. I want you to kiss me on my lips, but I know that won't happen. Though I'm grateful for just this. More more lingers under my breath, asking, do I need this? I close my eyes, hoping to fall back in rhythm. A tear falls down my cheek. You take it as a sign of overwhelming pleasure, not for the same feeling that bleeds from my heart. Do I want this? Another moment that will end rather than to stick around to see what comes next. But I stay quiet because silence in your arms feels safer than asking for more. I'm gonna read a poem from the second section, which is called The Stem, and I'm gonna read the poem Walking Barefoot. All right, Walking Barefoot. You make my soul smile, the kind that bubbles up from somewhere deep and untouched. Every laugh filling my body with joy I forgot I could feel. My inner child runs barefoot around you, taking note of how soft the grass is beneath. I can fly when I'm with you, soaring around like the airplanes we used to pretend to be. And suddenly, the plane crashes. I'm torn into 1,000 pieces, trying to find you in the mess. I scream out your name, only to realize you've already saved yourself. I run barefoot around you, yet there's something broken underneath my feet. The grass has lost its softness, replaced by shards of glass from broken promises. My inner child runs barefoot away from me to find the softness in the grass that once was. Ooh! All right, and then the last poem I'm going to read is a part of The Flower, which is the third section. And I want you guys to choose. I'm going to read off 3 titles. The Sun and the Moon, More Than a Woman, Anointing. Who wants a sweet afternoon? Who wants an bird? What is it? The Sun and the Moon? Okay, we'll do a sweet afternoon. Okay. A sweet afternoon. It starts in the tips of my toes. I feel it in the deepest parts of me. Oh, I yearn for you, long for what could be. I'm already thinking of the ways to say for you. You're close, and I can feel it, and you feel so good. You feel transcendent. Are you going to rip me open the glass? Am I going to cry for help? Or are you a gentle Russian leader that might stick around to watch your work unfold? Either way, you devour me whole. I feel impatient as I wait for you. I can feel the cry between my lips. I can feel the hunger growing in my belly. I hold my breath, knowing the second we meet, I'll forget how to breathe. Oh, my sweet friend, you're right outside. And I was right. You devour me whole. You take up every breath of air as we take the line of your existence. I scream at the mess you created, yet I relish in the delight of your being. I breathe again. You kiss me gently. You soothe my soul. You free my belly of its hunger. You release the ache between my lips. Thank you, my sweet friend.
Please come back and read more from your selection. Like, we're gonna want to hear the whole video. Yeah, one more. Very testing. Very warming here. Thank you for that. Thank you. First timer. Next, I have someone who is not a first timer. She's amazing and awesome. Talisha J. I'm not gonna do a little bit about gender day because I'm gonna ask y'all what I so first question, 2023 or 2024? 2023. Okay. And then and then do we want pick a number between 1 and how many poems is it? 107. Oh, 37. 37. Okay, wait. the anticipation to me, so.
They're numbered in increments of like 10. So, yeah, as I I'm just saying, everyone's doing so amazing today. What was the number? 37?
Yes.
I did a poor job of numbering. I went from like 20 to 57, so that's anyway, Brandon. This is awkward. Anyway, I think this is it. Okay, what is this? Draft 2. Alternative. Rewind. Alternate universe in which my mother doesn't have schizophrenia. Oh, okay.
What? Yeah.
Side note, my mom's birthday, she passed away in 2015, so this is like 10 years. But her birthday is on Saturday, so I guess it's very fitting. She's been everywhere today. Okay. I still grow up in the city I was born in the two-family flat we shared with Grandma. It smells like fresh linen and cookies baking, not at all like a seedy nightclub in the 90s before cigarettes were banned from boxed-in spaces and doorways. I have not been shamed into silence by the unnamed elephant twerking on the surface my eyes land on, and do not learn that food is a delicious bandage that can cover wounds and provide enough cushion to soften the blows of those yet to come. My mother has a real job, the one she didn't have to quit when the hallucinations warred with reality too much to make her reliable. She goes out on dates, dressed up in the leather pants I've only seen photos of, comes home glistening and whole in herself. I'm pretty original. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I will also share a poem that I wrote today. So me and a friend, 10 out of 10, I'm going to recommend this to y'all. Me and a friend, every month we call each other and we give each other workshops. So we'll pick up a poem, we'll have some questions and prompts, and yeah. So we did that today. I don't have a title, but this is a poem after Orson Scott. I don't know if that's how you say. Okay. The poem can start with me hitting the audio record button on the last conversation with my mother. Her voice, a grounded spice of age and 20 years of tobacco use and air pushed into lungs by machine. I get to keep her stories a little longer. I wouldn't have to question if I remembered correctly. Sure, I wouldn't be able to see the way she gazed up at her wrist as she near deathbed confessed that in 1973 she slid it. She survived then. I knew this. Born 12 years after said attempt. I know, still, both of us, this story within a story planted our eyes on the shiny skin. I know, a waveform can't bring her back to life, though it could bring me back to a moment where she was alive and warm to the touch. There would be no question that she was real if only she had proof. There would be no question that she was real if only I had proof, though it could bring me back to a moment where she was alive and warm to the touch. I know a waveform can't bring her back to life. I know, still, both of us, this story within a story, planted our eyes on the shiny skin. She survived then. I knew this. Born 12 years after said attempt, as she near deathbed confessed that in 1973 she slid it. Sure, I wouldn't be able to see the way she gazed up at her wrist. I wouldn't have to question if I remembered correctly. I'd get to keep her stories a little longer. Her voice, a grounded spice of age and 20 years of tobacco use, and air pushed into lungs by machine. The poem can start with me hitting the audio record button on the last conversation with my mother. This has been driving me crazy. So we're trying to think of the form all day. It's a form by Nicole Seeley.
Okay, so that's like Seeley Challenge, Seeley.
Yeah, that person. Okay. I can't remember the name of it. I think it starts with an A or an O. I've been looking for it. So if I find out, I'll let y'all know. And by let y'all know, I mean I will take it to you and hope you get it. Before I hop off, I just wanted to let y'all know that me and my friends are doing a virtual writing retreat called Camp Bright Start. I have some flyers if anybody wants.
Thank you, Theresa, for that. Choose your own adventure. It was marvelous. Thank you. And next we have Zarka.
This is my first time.
Yeah.
I'll start with one called Fuck TSA.
Yeah.
We approached the terminal and I threw my weed pen in the taxi. Just another heart-wrenching goodbye at the airport. A hybrid called Tiger's Eye. She was a good friend of mine. I gazed a glazed yet sorrowful last look at her as the cab departed with my love in the door. Yeah, one more. It's called Rose. Don't adjust your straps. You're existing just as you should, just the way I want you. Mindless to the time that elapsed, conversations only we understood. Your reading of a church view. Sunlight, a curious cat, and knitting tools. I won't give much of me, but I'm desperately drinking you up. Eyes wide open, I join the line of fools beating down your door to see what goodness you can pour from your cup. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, everyone's so amazing. I have to leave y'all first time. Like, awesome. Thank you so much. And then now we have any blonder stragglers who want to come in. Yes, Ben, hi. Hi. Okay, we're gonna have some music interlude featured. Is there anybody else who wants to be on the yes? Okay. Just a poem. Okay. Did you want to do well? Okay, yeah, she's got her stuff here. Yes. Do you need this thing or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't need chance.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I wrote both of these yesterday because me and my siblings were talking. They were like, "Does anyone else feel like we're in limbo right now? Like things are slow and like emotions are high, but it's not." Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
This is kind of like how you feel on the inside while all of the limbo is going on. The first one is called The Frenzy. The goddess Kali, passionate like fire, angry like fire, angry like me, passionate like love. The hurt, the end, the burning. Everything is hers. She claims everything she comes across, her jaw unhinged to devour what she deserves. I see myself in her wild, white, wide eyes. I feel a frenzy in myself. They call her the frenzy, the whirlwind. She's always spinning. One foot in the air, the other tramples the dead bodies of men. I think I'm spinning. One foot standing on scorched earth, the other hung in the air, deciding, do I feel the fire? Do I let it swallow me like that goddess's escaping law? Do I fight with everything? Teeth bare, tongue out, devouring the whirlpool. Have I devoured fire? Am I already burning? Angry like fire, passionate like me. Maybe I'm already burning. This one didn't have a title. Yeah. I don't feel human. Never human. Always other. Not in the sense of male, female, other, but like I'm something strange stuck in a sticky skin suit. I think I'm the last unicorn. I'm the last of my kind, and time is running out for me. As mankind lost the ability to see, as all birds of my natural created from the heart of all, unlike Lady Amalthea, a something strange stuck in a sticky skin suit, the complexities of me too much for the naked eye, not enough room in the corporeal form for my essence to stir. Bits of me melt away until my eyes are empty and hopeless. Like Lady Amalthea, I can feel this body dying around me, bones creaking when I wake up, and aching when my breasts swing too low, jaw burning, my legs burning, my skull burning. I've been on fire since I was 6. Bouts of pain in the middle of the night, last bits of magic engraving against the fading of the light. Under my skin, pulses pushing against my eyes, forming like tense blood vessels. Make a small cut to relieve the pressure. Let that liquid rage leak out. All rage, let it pour out. And I'll keep the rage that keeps me alive. I won't keep what's mine. All the rest can go. All the rage can go, but let me keep what's mine. The rage that keeps me alive. Let everything else go, and I'll keep what's mine. All the rest can go. Just let me keep what's mine. Okay, in honor of Pride Month, I'm going to sing one of my favorite Mexican songs. Not just because it's Mexican, but also because it's my swing thing in Adventure Time. I don't know what to do about you. I've been trying to make it down, but I don't disagree. And I don't need hope to see that I'm not as I can be. But I don't think I can stand to be where you, where you don't be. I on a tree walking street. I think the gas is so bright. I what they need, but I don't need the whole thing to see that I'm done. But I don't need to stay to when you don't see me. If you're not comes and you don't see broken CD by Peter Disney. Don't think I'm only it hurt me seven. Blue eyes so quickly, blue heart beat free. Don't think I'm like I always said I would.
That's another round. Only people that you should think that you're around. Hi. What is your sorry name? Cassidy, come on up, Cassidy. I wrote this poem like 3 months ago. Every time I want to come to the life, I think I'm missing it. I was writing this based off of like a bunch of cliches as first lines, and then I would finish off trying to make it more original. So this one is called Limbo. Hell is other people, but only because I create them in my mind. Mm-hmm. It whispers that everyone thinks I'm feeble, twisted, annoying, when all they say is I'm too kind. I'm not illiterate. Well, at least I've convinced myself that I can read the emotions in the room, but feelings are up for interpretation, yet despite context or relation, my conclusions fill me with an impenetrable feeling. I can't read minds, but mine can write a convincing story that deep down others despise me. Why would they? Even so, being pitied is too boring. Heaven won't ever exist if my thoughts will be there too. Nothing that brings joy can persist when my inner voice leaves no room but to insist that it won't get much better. Mm-hmm. The only power I have is to assume what others presume. All I can feel is that sooner or later everyone else will feel or leave by choice, my rejection, death. I'm sure I could change the state of mind if I tried, but I don't believe that I'm deserving of it, so I hide. Behind a snide, under a smile, over my grief, I'm holding back the bile. This sick feeling in my throat is so constant that I'm immune to the weights piling, driving me, churning. The frame may tilt, my mouth might crack, I may even choke, but it's all wrenched back. Not even death is allowed to prevent me from keeping the surface of this pond remote. A boat of content might come to coast top of the steadily calm water, but soon as it's under my malcontent that I'll always be everything, I'll always have everything to prove and nothing to offer. Hell is my mind. I try to ignore it, write a story, run away, numb the end goal, but heaven doesn't exist, so when I leave purgatory, there's nowhere to stay. Limbo. Not then I just have one more. This is kind of a rough draft, but I felt like I wanted to read it. It's called Swim. I only do what I can't avoid, and the rest is all just painful noise. Treading anxious waters as the tide, drowning beneath the weight of what I can't abide. Today is yesterday, so I'll live in the past. Can't help imagining the ways I'm constantly surpassed by her potential. That version of me remains still. The one that I thought was always promised, it's seductive diversion of free will, and this destructive love of being dishonest, has left my potential to furnace, serve to my mind with wine as its choice of slow. See how I stand so confident, and sure of what I could be, should be, if I escape from my self-made cage. How cliche, how vain, how delusional. Sleep or awake, numb or in pain, radical or constitutional, every moment is an instant closer to the end of this futile trip. Every day I wonder if turning 25 really will help me get a fucking grip. Am I a lost cause to be constantly trying to find a cause, trying to bind it with gauze, whining about never being able to pause, romanticizing my dirt to explain why I never get up to wash it away? They say drowning is supposed to be peaceful, but I never understood that because when I did by accident, all I could remember was the pain. Just an instance of agony, and I show back no matter the ordeal, only my distance to tragedy and not my reluctance to feel. Pain of love might be constant or fleeting, fake or real, but I don't know. How could I? Never have, and really never will. Yeah. Here's going back to the stage. It's called a verse. OBVERSE. A verse poem. Yay! It's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Am I able to read one more?
Yeah, it's important.
This last one is called More Than a Woman. And my sister's here, and I want her to hear this.
So, sorry.
All right. More than a woman. Do you know what freedom tastes like? When the sweet taste of confidence slithers through your teeth, pouring out with every word you speak, transcending beyond measures. There is no mountain tall enough to keep me grounded. When you let your head fall back, closing your eyes as the sun beams against your skin, sun-kissed at its finest, illuminating the epitome of what it means to be more than a woman. Divine femininity mixed with a pinch of fatal attraction. You wish you understood. You wish you felt this good. A fucking reckoning and a promising indulgence. A monarch at the feet of its bloom. A woman is defined. Though I am more than a woman, I am freedom.
That's awesome. I'm so glad your sister can hear you. That's awesome. Thank you. Does anybody else who feels so good? Right. Then it's time for our lovely feature of video. Woo! Thank you for being features for all of our mates. You do an amazing job. Yeah, now we get to hear your work, and I'm excited about that. Yes. Woo!
Indulging nepotism, like you got okay. This first one is called Ode to Dust. It's after Angel Nafis, one of my favorite poets, who has a series of poems that are like odes to everyday things. She has like an ode to shea butter, ode to voicemail. This is Ode to Dust after her. I have known you well. Along every floor I have called home. Along stretches of hardwood, linoleum, pine green carpet, rainbow doormat, tile. I have known the slow accumulation, the rhythm of there, then gone, then there again. Sometimes I yearn to be strangers, to no longer catch you tumbleweeding in the corner of my eye. You moonlight as archive, keeper of everything that has ever been here. You, stuck in the bristles of a broom, holding on tight as the fan swirls. I know you, floating and illuminated by sunbeams, tossed salad of crumbs, carcasses, skin, hair, collected time. You keep everything you're given. Me too. I know you, lineage, birthright, inheritance, heirloom, layer by layer on the books I do not frequent. Know you are easiest to pick up between fingertips when pushed into a congregation. Incomprehensible that a home be mine without you. This next one came from prompt to write a poem that's a love story between ocean and a ship. This is what I got in that. It starts with sinking, the weight of you entering. I press against you on all sides. We're wrapped in wet pressure, slip and slide with greedy waves. You, forged in heat and pressed metal. Me, molded by algae and siren song. You at my mercy as much as I yours. I laugh along your backbone, back and forth, forth and back, patient in my memorization, each lick learning the spread of you. We are wingless, tethered somewhere between cloud home and molten core, and yet and still made flightful by salted wind, winnowing breeze. This could be a fable, a tale of ship and sea, or a tulip bowl, a bursting want, a trembling desire, plain and simple, animal as that. I went through a breakup at the beginning of this year. So these next two poems, the first one is from the beginning, the second one is from the end. This one is called There Is No Waste When You Savor the Good. I sit in the kitchen doorway, play jazz with little lyrics, Cookbook spread across my lap, and you are there. How lucky I am to witness you like this, close enough to run fingers down the back of your leg. Is there a limit to what you'll teach me? We wade through curiosity, steep in the questions. There is no rush to get answers or certainty. We wander and linger and taste. As time slips, there is no waste. We wring out all the pleasure: cucumbers, tuna, tinned fish, sourdough fried in butter, lemon. When we're full of each other, I fill us with water, you fill us with food. Grocery list and menu that you made in advance, a perfect balance of favorites and new things to try. You forget your bench scraper. I savor the patience you take to avoid waste, slowly scraping each bit of biscuit dough from your hand. The yard is visited by deer every day. So much to savor. Lick up every drop. 1 second. Too good. And this is How Fucking Dare You? Dare you take a fantastic and heartwarming film like Nimona, the only movie we actually paid attention to on that borrowed sun-soaked couch in the house we rented away from both our normals. How dare you familiarize my mouth with pasta al limon and avocado toast with goat cheese and chili crisps, only for them to now have primarily bitter notes. How dare you write me poems? How dare you reignite my love of Bob's Burgers, only to leave it unwatchable, covered in your sticky fingerprints? How dare you ask me to make up for lost time, only to shorten the time we got? How dare you put your hands on someone you claim to love? How dare you keep adding songs to the playlist you made me? How dare you dip your finger into my everyday, into salt and weed and rose tea and pleasure and honey in this room? How dare you facilitate hope? How dare you orchestrate its exit? Oh, these next two are for my dad. This first one is called Today I'm Not Thinking About My Dad. Today's clouds were rimmed in pinks and oranges, were gliding and unstill. Today it was colder than it looked. I want to call the sun deceptive, but maybe it was my expectation. Today I peed on the toilet seat because the lid wasn't up before the screen began. Today I wiped the floor of pee. Today I wiped the kitchen floor of Joe's spilled water. Today I started working on a pointless PowerPoint about navigating burnout and nonprofit. Today I did not wake up in a pool of sweat. Today I am bleeding less, shedding almost complete. Today I wrote in my planner, made plans for a future me. Today I wore a mask and did yoga outside. Today children ran by playing tag or hiding to speak. Today a friend got pulled over, was let off with a warning and her life. Today I asked Mom for your glass chess set so I can teach myself to play. Today the grandmother I don't know liked an Instagram post from 2020. Forgive me, the title was a lie. And this one is called Your Ghost Demands Time in the Mirror, which is just to say that vanity does not die except in the way that it did because you did. But of course, I will shift out of focus. Of course, I will vacate center stage for your reflection to have returned, you and the round, shiny balls of your head. And were we to go on a walk through a pollen-soaked street, I will not crease your shoes with my clumsy. I will shrug on my bravery and ask the nice folks at McDonald's to make your fries fresh. Of course I will. What I won't do is stay awake for more than 30 minutes of The Matrix. No, not even for you. But I will quietly the whole way through. Stay right there like your love for it got to grow for each of my decades. Dad, I'll say, teach me how to get that bald, shiny, round head just like you. Of course, that's what you'll say. And there will be in the mirror two not ghosts, two scouts approaching bald, and all around us dropping curls. You clean as you go, I imagine. Use blade oil to start, alcohol to end. You teach the steps I usually ignore. Aren't there ghost barbershops where you are now? Did you just want to visit? No matter. I don't know how long we have, and I have more pressing questions, and not nearly enough time for any of them. Thank you for stopping by for the lesson, to share this reflecting glass, to be side by side. This one is from a class I took earlier this year. Every week we have captured a poem with a similar theme, and then after spending time with those poems, we wrote in that theme. So this week we were writing poems that were related to a picture. So this is a picture from college that I wrote. West in Atlanta, February 2017. In the picture, we are a triangle of connection, hand on knee, hand on thigh, hand on shoulder. I break the chain, keep us from turning quadrilateral. Foreshadowing is funny that way that maybe isn't funny at all. Even if I wasn't there, I would know it was a party or the pregame. We're all dressed better than typical. Off the shoulder white body contrast, hugging curves under the cover of Afro. Long leather jacket over something tiny and unseen. Big earrings, big boots, big mouths spread, laughter that blurred, echoes through time, space, light, lost. The elephant in the room couldn't be chased out, not by the blunt of jelly logos I had that were already nestled inside. Before this, I always turned down the substances passed around before the function. Funny how an end can be a beginning that way. What picture me doesn't know that the me and now does is that I will get so cross-faded I could barely stand. Would throw up in the parking lot outside of my freshman dorm. Leaning out of the car my friend sent me home in, his car, the cry catalyst, the most recent and tender ex, the reason for the smoke and the liquor and the reckless. Remnants of their echoing laughter followed its home, a soundtrack accompanying his chastising, my shame. Thank you. And this is my last poem. It's a weird one. It's kind of like sci-fi poem. It happens over time. Slowly, slowly, patiently, almost invisibly if you weren't paying attention. And we weren't, not to this anyway. There were other things demanding attention. The waddle of groundhog, the pageant that is American politics, sound of rhubarb growing, Great Pacific garbage patch, melting permafrost and rivers running orange, blown sprouts of budding asparagus, the chicken virus and the air traveling one, parable of the solar day, pattern addiction, ever hotter summers, ever expensive everything, the genocide, the genocide, the genocide, the genocide everywhere. So no, we didn't notice as the skin on our foreheads became phoenix spots of gray, and then transparent, see-through. If synapses had eyes, they'd be able to look out. No one knows how or why it happened, this window making of our brains. No one trusts the CDC anymore. The holy folks say it's a sign, beginning of the next end, call it rapture. Environmentalists say it's a side effect caused by UV radiation from our ever closer sun. Cause doesn't matter as much as effect. They are selling our thoughts now. Who needs an algorithm when they can see right in? The companies know what you're thinking before the thought is finished. No need to find your card, tap your phone, type the CBC code. The person into your mind. Maybe this is it. Surely it can't get worse.
Where's your book coming out and all that?